Yeah, hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. Bitcoin just fighting with the 37k mark. I think here on Bitstamp it's already below 37k, as you can see here. It's basically moving down at the moment, very short term, in line with expectations. In my video earlier today, I talked about the potential very small bear flag that we're seeing, but we're going to take a look at that. So yeah, it's always depending on which kind of time frame you're looking at, and we're going to take a closer look at that. Overall, together with Bitcoin moving down, some coins are moving down quite a bit, and it's sort of the likes of Polygon Matic, Avalanche, Terra Luna, the ones that did perform really well in the last few weeks before they had a very late correction coming. They're a bit later. Also Cosmos here, which I'm going to update shortly as well. So overall, nothing has changed on my view. It is a bit boring what's going on at the moment. I understand that. I know that it's boring for me as well. It's especially difficult for someone who's publishing videos and crypto videos, especially on TA, because especially if we are in a wave 4 like we are here, this can become very boring. But I still will update you, because whenever we see something exciting, it's first of all important to keep up to date with it. Anybody who wants to, and yeah, there can be something happening any minute. And the further we progress, the further we get on it, and are gonna get closer to the completion of the potential correction. Now, did tell you numerous times that in this potential wave 4 in which we are, it can get long. It can take long. It can be boring. We did a wave 4 here as well. This was in the beginning of January, wave 3 to wave 4. That took quite long. Also here, this one from around the 4th of December, huge sell-off, and then wave 4 took all the way until the end of 2021. And now we are here as well in a wave 4, and we only started that wave 4 really a week ago. Yeah, so this can take a while. I did warn you. The thing is, and that is positive about it, the fact that it takes quite long, and the fact that we're not really building here a clear impulse. It's not looking very exciting. It's not very interesting. It's just boring. Whenever you watch the chart, it feels like nothing is happening. That at least tells me that my view here and my wave count is correct. Yeah, and that my assumption is correct, that the bottom hasn't been in yet. Yeah, it tells me that we are still in a correction, and this is basically the wave 4 correction of that impulse to the downside. Okay, so it is just a corrective wave. It is basically correcting this impulse down in this downtrend. Yeah, that wave 4 is correcting the downtrend before we then get a final impulse down, the wave 5, which I can't wait for to happen, because then that will be a very interesting time. That could only be, bear in mind, that could only be a fast wick. Yeah, one scenario. It could be over very quickly. We could just on a day through the night, we just go down all the way here. But that's why I've got my buy order set as well, so I'm not gonna miss it that low. Of course, it doesn't need to be over there around 25 to 27k, but that's where I would expect it, before we then see a fairly quick recovery. That's still my expectation, and that hasn't changed. But again, here we looked at it earlier today, and we take a look here on the 4-hour, probably better the 1-hour chart. Looked at this earlier today, and I told you that the way we come down here, obviously we broke below this ascending channel. Yeah, we retested it, we came down stronger, and this morning in my update video earlier today, could be a different time of the day where you are, but in my video earlier today I said that this is looking very, again, corrective. So you can see your very strong impulsive move down, and then you get a correction in here, and now you're probably preparing probably for another move down. This is basically because we didn't see a strong reaction here, we can estimate or guess or assume that it's going to go down further. It seems like we're doing that now, already back at 36.8. But again, that is not a big issue. We can drop down now, especially on the short time frames here, maybe to the next low, which is sitting at 36.3 here. Yeah, and then the next low, which is a significant one, because this is the low of that pattern here, of that ascending wedge, which would be 35.5. And typically you say when something is breaking out of an ascending wedge, the target area is regularly the low of that wedge, and that would be here that 35.5k, and that's also a low or a support level that I highlighted earlier. So I wouldn't be surprised to get to that level. But even if we sell all the way down to 33K, it still doesn't mean that wave 4 is over, because we could theoretically then move up again from there. And as soon as that wave 3 low here is broken at 33K, we can be quite confident that the wave 5 is starting. Unfortunately, until then, we have to wait. To the upside, primarily, I would still expect, even if we move up and down in here, and as I said, it can take a while, even if we move up and down in here, I would still primarily expect a move all the way up to 43K before we finish the wave 4, before we then can go into a wave 5. So that's still the view. If we take a look on the 4-hour chart, looking here at the EMA ribbon, so basically the ribbon of the exponential moving averages, we can see that we were briefly above it yesterday again. So the EMA ribbon oftentimes acts as support and resistance as well, but now you can see here we actually retested that. When we came down, we found support, moved all the way up, and tried to get back into this channel basically yesterday, but then we lost it. We dropped all the way through the EMA ribbon. Now you're correcting that move, you retested the EMA ribbon, and now you're heading down. So I wouldn't be surprised if we now see some further downside here in the short term before we then probably move up, possibly all the way to that 43K, before we then get down in a final sell-off. Now that's my view. Could happen otherwise, but that is what I think is very likely, that you're now maybe retesting this low here at around 35.5 and then give it another shot to the upside. So it can be a draining thingy here. But again, investment doesn't always need to be exciting, does it? It oftentimes is, especially in the crypto market. And this is what it is. With Cardano, still in this bloody pattern, still again, also moving sideways. Hasn't really broken it yet. But again, it depends on how you're looking at this pattern. I did tell you earlier, we're on the 4-hour chart here. You can also draw that triangle like that, and then you've broken it to the downside. But I think actually a more valid way is probably like that, because we're not seeing significant moves here. And if we see it like that, we are still within this triangle pattern. But if Bitcoin is really heading down from here, maybe to 35.5, I wouldn't be surprised if we are losing the dollar again and possibly retest that 92-cent level. If I had to give a percentage of probability, how likely is it that we're going to hold above 92 cents? Because below 92 cents, you're unlocking much lower prices. Then I think we're going to get into this area here between 55 and 30 cents. Between those two Fibonacci retracement levels, the 0.887 and the 0.786. So here you can see the Fib levels, the 0.887 at 30 cents and the 0.786 at 55 cents. Don't get confused. I've got them reversed. It's just personal preference really, because then I can use the retracement and the extension tool for the same purpose. Also here, if we take a look at the EMA ribbon on the 4-hour chart, EMA ribbon, there you go. So it's just taking a moment to load, I guess. Oh, there you go. And if we take a look at the EMA ribbon here, I guess not too exciting, because we are also below it, without much surprise really. There have been a few periods here where we've been above it, but this was always then basically a fake out, attempts to push higher, a little bit of pump and dump going on. The latest one here was because of Sunday Swap, but obviously there were some issues with Sunday Swap, unfortunately. Doesn't really help the ecosystem. But then, here we are broke below that EMA ribbon again. And by the way, the 4-hour EMA ribbon, some people use it for trading, something I did in the past as well. Can be useful. You can even see it on this indicator here. Some sort of long and short signals, or at least potentially here when it's flagging up and when the price is breaking above the EMA ribbon, potential to go long, and then maybe get out of the trade as soon as it breaks below the EMA ribbon. Now, there's no financial advice. It's just one way of how people can do, or how you can do trading. Of course, you're not going to win every trade, but it is a good way of doing it, or it can work. Here you can see it again when you break above it and you're retesting it, and that's then sometimes when people get in and then would get out when it's broken again to the downside. Now, when to get out is a completely different story, different strategies again, but certainly it can be used as a trade entry, possibly together with other indicators. But yeah, here you can see it doesn't always work, because here you've got just a very short period where it briefly broke above. That doesn't always work. But what can work is, for example, a strategy where you go in, retest, and then move up. But here again, that wouldn't have worked really. That was just too short. But the problem is as well, especially if you're in a downtrend anyway. If you're in a downtrend, you're fighting against the trend if you want to go long. But it can be used for shorting, certainly. As you can see here, you short here, and then you still stay all the way below the EMA ribbon at the moment, right? And especially if you're short in a downtrend, in which we are, then this can be much more profitable. But personally, I don't really like shorting too much. But yeah, that's just my view at the moment. But it works. It works. And as soon as I do this here more, full time again, which will be very shortly, then I'm going to look at that in more detail again. But yeah, that's Cardano. So hope you liked the update about Bitcoin and Cardano. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you really like the content, maybe you want to consider to join as a channel member. You can do that either on my website or YouTube here, and you can find a link for that in the description. You can then join Discord, Telegram, and see my buy and sell orders, all sorts of things, which we're currently actually working on a little bit, making it a bit more transparent, and also have a separate spreadsheet for these buy and sell orders, which will be much more user friendly as well. All right, so thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.